Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is Muhammad Usaini Badr Muhammad. Today I want to present about the topic of demand and supply. So, what is a definition of a demand? Demands are quantities of particular goods or services customers are willing and able to buy at different possible prices. So, the law of a demand is when the prices is increased, so the consumers will less in buying of a good or services. But when the price is decreased, the consumers will buy more of a good or services. So this situation we can show in the graph of a demand. So as we can see, when the price is increased, the demand quantity goes down. But when the price is decreased, the demand quantity is going up. It goes up. So there are a few variables that can shift in demand curve. So the first variable is the changes in income. So when the customers has an increase in their income, so the customers will buy more of a good or services. But when the customer has a decrease in their income, so the customers will buy less of a good or services. So the next is the price of related goods. There are two: substitute and complementary. Substitute is a positively correlated with change in the price of related goods. For example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So, for example, uh, in this situation, if the price of a Coca-Cola is increased, so the consumers will, so the quantity of demand of the Pepsis will will increase because of the because consumers will go buying in Pepsi. Next is the complementary. Complementary is a negatively correlated with change in the price of related goods. For example, printers and ink. So if the prices of the printer is increased, so the quantity demand of the ink decrease. But if the print if the printers prices is decreased, so the quantity demand of the ink is increased. So the next is a number of consumers. If the number of users increase, so the market demand will be increased. So as a effect, the product demand in the market will increase too. So the next is about the supply. The supply is a demand of a product that is offered for sale at all possible prices in market. So the law of supply is the tendency of suppliers to offer more of a good at a higher price and less at lower prices. For example, we can see at the supply graph, if the prices when the price is increased, the supply quantity goes up. But when the price is decreased, the supply quantity is going down. The law of a demand also describes how prices affects customers and how prices affects producers. So there are few variables that can shift in supply curve. There is cost of inputs, change in productivity, and a number of producers. So the cost of inputs, the relationship between input price and supplies are negatively correlated. For example, um, for example, when the production cost is increased, the supply quantity is going to decrease. But if the production cost decrease, the supply quantity goes increase. Next, the changes in productivity. This relationship between productivity and supply are positive correlated. For example, when the production is increased, the supply quantity will also increase. But when the production is decreased, the supply quantity is going decrease too. So the third variable is the number of producers. So the for example, if the number of sellers is increased, the market supply will also increase. So the next is about the market equilibrium. Market equilibrium price is happens when market of the demand and supply curves are intersect. The quantity demanded by consumers are equal the quantity supplied by producers at a given price. There is no incentive price to change and market clearing prices. So we can see at the equilibrium, the graph of the equilibrium, when the curve of the supply and the demand are intersect at the price and quantity.